The Clockmaker's Secret. The town of Greywick was a place forgotten by time. Its crooked streets, leaning houses, and misty skies gave it a ghostly stillness. At its center loomed the old clock tower, a jagged silhouette rising over the rooftops. The clock had not ticked in 100 years, since the night its maker, Elias Veyron, vanished. Children whispered he was cursed. Others swore he had built something inside the tower too dangerous to reveal. Whatever the truth, the hands of the clock were frozen, and so was the memory of that night. Mara Lennox, 17 and curious to a fault, never believed in curses. To her, the tower was a puzzle begging to be solved. The key. It began in the town's ancient library. Mara had been leafing through a dusty history book when a brass key slipped from between its pages. Its weight felt wrong, heavier than it looked. Attached to it was a tag that read, "For the clock tower." Her pulse quickened. Nobody else noticed. The librarian was asleep at his desk. Mara pocketed the key. By nightfall, she stood before the iron doors of the tower. The lock yielded with a soft click. The ascent inside, a spiral staircase wound upward through shadows. The air smelled of rust and old oil. Every step groaned beneath her weight, and once, she swore, she heard whispers drifting down the stairwell. At the top chamber, the great gears loomed like the bones of a giant. Dust lay thick, the pendulum hung lifeless, and the cracked clock face glowed faintly with moonlight. And there, built into the wall, was a small panel shaped perfectly for her key. Her hand trembled as she slid it in. The tower shuddered. The awakening. The gears groaned to life, grinding against years of stillness. The pendulum swung with a deep, metallic thrum. Dust shook free from the rafters. Then Mara looked through the clock face and froze. Outside, the rain had stopped. Droplets hung mid-air, glittering like frozen gems. Horses and people were locked in place as if painted into existence. Time itself had stopped. A figure emerged from the gears, tall, spectral, clad in a long leather coat. His eyes glowed molten gold. "You should not have come," he said. Mara's voice caught. "You're Elias, the clockmaker." "I was." His eyes flicked to the gears. "Now I am the tower." The warning Elias studied her, his voice heavy with sorrow. "This is no ordinary clock. It is the heart of time. When I built it, I thought to master it. Instead, it bound me here. I became its keeper, its prisoner." He stepped closer, his presence humming with power. "You've awoken what was never meant to move again. Already the world frays." The clock struck once. The sound rippled through the frozen night, and cracks of light split across the air outside, as though the world itself were glass shattering. Mara's heart raced. "Then we have to stop it!" Elias's face darkened. "The key must be turned again. The tower's sealed, but know this. Time requires a keeper. When you turn it, someone must stay, forever." Mara felt cold spread through her chest. "That's what happened to you." He nodded slowly. "And what will happen to you if you choose to save them?" The temptation. The gears clanked and hummed. Through the cracks in reality, Mara glimpsed fragments. Skies burning red, faces she didn't know, cities she'd never seen, past, present, and future bleeding together. A thought stirred in her mind. If she controlled this tower, couldn't she change things? Stop mistakes, save lives, live endless days? Elias's gaze sharpened. "Do not be tempted. Power is a cage. I have seen centuries from within these walls, and yet I am less than a man. Every moment stolen costs more than you can imagine." The clock struck twice. The tower shook violently. Outside, a frozen bird shattered into sparks, vanishing into nothing. Mara gripped the key still glowing in the panel. The weight of the choice pressed down on her. The choice. Her heart screamed at her to run, to flee and never look back. But she thought of her mother waiting at home, her little brother's laughter, the townspeople below, all frozen, unaware. If she left, Greywick would shatter with the rest of the world. She raised her hand to the key. Elias's molten eyes softened. "Brave child," he whispered. She turned it. The keeper light exploded from the mechanism, blinding and searing. The gears screamed, the pendulum thundered, and the tower's fire surged into Mara's veins. She gasped as visions overwhelmed her. She saw Greywick being built stone by stone, its people yet unborn. She saw her own future splinter into 1,000 branches, then dissolve into light. When the glow dimmed, Elias was gone. Mara's hands shimmered faintly gold. She felt the hum of the tower coursing through her. She was its keeper now. Outside, time resumed. Rain fell, footsteps clattered, voices rose again. The world continued, unaware it had nearly ended. Mara turned to the window. For a heartbeat, she imagined stepping back into her life. But she knew she could not. The tower had claimed her, as it had claimed Elias. The midnight bell struck once more, its sound carrying through Greywick. "I will guard the hours," Mara whispered to the gears. "I will keep the balance." And the tower ticked on.